Hello, Toku Queens and Toku Kings. It is your boy B3 back with another kicking Tokusatsu movie reaction review. Today we have a movie that I've actually been wanting to watch for years. I've been wanting to watch this movie since like 2016, and it didn't have a sub when I first wanted to watch it, and then I kind of just let it go, and then I just ran across the sub after because I watched and reviewed Superhero Taisen recently. I was like, I'll rewatch this since I'm watching Go Busters and review it. And then I started thinking about this movie. So I went, and there it was. Very easy to find these days. Superhero Taisen Grand Prix Kamen Rider Sango. Yeah, or Superhero Taisen GP Kamen Rider 3. The GP stands for G3, and Sango is how you say 3 or whatever. So, this was a movie during Kamen Rider Drive, uh, which is very obvious since he's the front character on the cover. And it was supposed to be a crossover between Kamen Rider Drive and Ninja, which was the Super Sentai show at the time. Um, and it didn't really feel like it, to be completely honest. It felt like just a Kamen Rider film. It just felt like a big Kamen Rider film. Because all the Super Sentai team does is show up in the end to fight the giant robot. They do literally nothing for the entire movie until the very end. It doesn't feel like a Superhero Taisen. A Superhero Taisen should be the Rider and the Sentai teaming up for the entire movie, and this was just Kamen Riders doing their thing for a whole movie. Drive was absent half the time, by the way. Drive, my favorite Kamen Rider, in his own movie, absent half the time. And it's just Kamen Riders doing their own thing till the end. And since it was labeled Superhero Taisen, they could kind of get away with Drive not being around for half the movie. Well, more like a third of the, or maybe even a quarter of the movie. It wasn't too long, but it was long enough for you to be like, where the hell is Drive, dude? He just kind of disappeared, and then he came back in his regular clothes and new hair, or in his regular hair, because he wasn't in his regular outfit kind of at the beginning. Because it starts off where the very first Kamen Rider show ends, with Shocker being defeated by Kamen Riders 1 and 2. And then Kamen Rider 3 shows up and kills them, which obviously did not happen at the end of the original show, which I think was actually like 3 seasons. That obviously didn't happen. Kamen Rider 3 didn't even exist. And then we find out that Shocker actually changed time because the timeline changes, and everyone becomes like Shocker versions of themselves. Lots of good riders become evil, but it seems like most of the riders were actually good to begin with, and then they were defeated and brainwashed into becoming Shocker riders. And throughout this entire film, lots of characters were like, oh, we'll execute the traitor Kamen Riders. And it's like, why are you saying that? You know that you're not going to execute the traitor Kamen Riders. You know for a fact that is not going to happen because you're going to brainwash them. Why are you saying you're going to publicly execute them if you're going to brainwash them, you Nazi dumbass? Shocker are just monster Nazis, by the way, just in case anyone was wondering. But it's insane. It's actually an enjoyable film, though. It doesn't really get too crazy until the end, because things seem to happen for a reason throughout most of the film, and then by the end of the movie, it starts to get into that crossover territory. You know how lots of times in these tokusatsu crossovers, it'll be like, it'll just stop explaining things, and stuff will just happen for no reason? Most of the movie was pretty good about not doing that, just up until the very end, where they were like, fuck it, let's just have this happen. Fuck it. All the riders from Kamen Rider Blade change sides for no reason. Fuck it. The Sentai show up with no explanation of how they're in this timeline. Fuck it. Fuck all of it. Who the hell cares? People just want to see the fights. And the fights were very good. Like, Superhero Taisen pretty much always has its story problems, but the fights are always so dope, dude, that you're just like, you know what? It's a cheap film, but the fights are rad. And Kamen Rider 3 is actually really cool. He's quite cool. I love his design. His character's not bad. He, spoiler alert, even kind of sacrifices himself in the end. Not sacrifices in like die, but sacrifice his timeline so that he becomes someone different and doesn't remember his past and stuff. Uh, and I thought it was kind of predictable that this is more spoilers, by the way. I thought it was kind of predictable that Kamen Rider 3 didn't change sides at the beginning, but I also knew he would change sides by the end. I thought all that was predictable because he's a Kamen Rider, and that's just how it works, dude. That's just how it works. But yeah, there's kind of a reason why they stopped doing superhero Taisens, because they weren't that great. They were entertaining, but they aren't that great of movies. but they're very entertaining. I'll give it that. If you're watching Kamen Rider Drive or Ninja, you should just go ahead and watch this movie. And I honestly recommend it. Otherwise, if you already love Toku, if you're like just getting into Toku, maybe watch some better movies first, or something, because this movie gets weird. Because it's very weird. It occurs. So here's the weird thing. It occurs after Shuriken Sentai Ninja versus Kamen Rider Drive Spring Vacation 1 hour combining special. It occurs after that. But he doesn't remember them in the movie. And the reason he doesn't remember them in the movie is because it's a drive from a different timeline. But it's still a little weird watching it, because at first you don't realize that. And then you're like, hey, you know them, dude. Because I was watching it thinking, you know them, buddy. But then it was like, oh, he actually doesn't know them because this is a different timeline. So it took a second for that to occur to me. It's apparent that ninjas just aren't different at all. I don't know why they aren't different. They're not different. The only thing different about them is they don't know who Drive is. That's it. That's all. Oh, and the timeline resets back to normal at the end, except Kamen Rider Mach is still dead. And they do fix that later. Because I remember when they fixed that. Because I remember not seeing this movie, and then I was like, how the hell did he die? Because I watched them bring him back to life, and I couldn't remember them killing him. And so this is where that happened. Because I remember I was really confused when that happened. But this is where they killed him, dude. I think I did look up when they killed him before, but it's pretty cool. And we have several other riders, and there's like a big race. That's why it's called Grand Prix, because there's a big race in it to see who the fastest rider is, because the fastest rider needs to be absorbed. And apparently the race was Shocker's plan the whole time, even though Kamen Rider Drive recommended the race. So the race was his idea, but then the movie tries to frame it like it was Shocker's idea. I don't know. I don't know. It was weird. But I mean, it's a superhero Taisen film, and they're always weird, dude. It actually had a lot of errors in it. Apparently, because I was looking up stuff about it, and it had a whole list of errors. Like, apparently the transformation sounds for Zeronos are incorrect. And apparently there's some stuff with Fies that was incorrect too, but I haven't watched Fies yet, so I don't actually know. And Kamen Rider Dino should not have been affected by the changes in the timeline, because Zeronos wasn't affected. Zeronos wasn't affected, but Dino was. I mean, you could probably explain that, like maybe Momotaro's was affected or something instead of Nogami, but I don't know. I have no clue. And I also thought it was weird when Yuto was like crucified up on a cross next to Kiriko, even though the race was to free her. He was a Kamen Rider. Why was he not competing in the Kamen Rider race? He has vehicles. He has two. He has a train and he has a bike. Why wasn't he competing? And Garen's helmet has like different color accents, but that might have been intentional. Or it might have been due to aging or just a mistake, but it could have just been an intentional design change. I don't know. Probably not, but still. But that's my review for Superhero Taisen GP Kamen Rider 3. I did enjoy it. The ending was weird, but I did enjoy it. It just towards the end, it just kind of crashed into itself, though. It just stopped explaining stuff, started making stuff up. But most of the movie's pretty solid. So that's it. Thank you all very much for your support. Remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. Check out all the cool links in the description below, Facebook, Twitter, etc. I don't know what the next review we're going to do will be. Maybe X-Aid True Ending, because I'm literally about to rewatch that. So probably X-Aid True Ending. So that's it. Thank you all once again for your support, and I will see you all later.